most videos like this, people will go out there and actually go ahead and talk down upon people that are doing really well in their 20s and want to enjoy spending the fruits of their labors. However, there's a few things that I've experienced over the last few years in my 20s, making millions of dollars, buying everything you could possibly imagine under the sun. And these are some things that I've learned, and I really want to go ahead and convey this to a lot of people out there that are in this position now or going to be in this position where they can go out and actually enjoy doing the same exact thing, however, not falling into the same pits, the same money falls that I fell into. The main purpose here should help you understand that the money that you make, sure, you definitely should enjoy it. However, do it in a responsible way where the money you're bringing in should be able to constantly keep on growing, rather than when you hit a peak or a stagnation and then your income just kind of depletes and you're never able to outspend your spending habits. So let's just dive into some of these right now. Now, before we dive into these 8, I want to say and make it very clear is that if you currently are going out there and seeing some sort of success in your 20s, you want to make sure you double down and you want to make sure that you make money work for you. This is so important. If you're currently making money, because nothing good lasts forever, but great things do. So build stuff that is great and focus on becoming great and providing a great service, a great product, whatever it is, and that will last forever. Always remember that. So number 1 is bottle service. So bottle service is very interesting because I've spent a lot of money on bottles. But let's actually get down to the root of why people spend money on bottles. Now, let me ask you this. When was the last time you went to a prominent club or anywhere really where bottle service is offered and you've seen an actual woman, a businesswoman, go out and just splurge on bottle service? Well, you're probably saying to yourself, never. I personally have never seen a woman go out there and just spend thousands of dollars in a single night to attract men. No. See, here's the thing. As men, we go out there and it's pretty much the same thing that peacocks do. You know how peacocks raise their feathers? Whoever has the brightest feathers, the female's attracted to them. Same exact thing. If you ever look in a club, in a nightclub where there's bottle service, whoever's spending the most money, the women are attracted to those individuals. But here's the thing is that it's our primal instinct to want to become like a peacock and flash what we have. Or again, if you're earning substantial amounts of income, is to say, hey, I can outspend this individual, or I can spend this much for what? To attract women and hopefully get laid. But let me tell you something, it is not worth going out spending thousands of dollars for that one sole mission, because nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to go out and spend thousands on bottle service just for the heck of it because I like wasting money. No. We all do it. It's a primitive instinct to essentially attract women and hopefully score for the night. Next up is cars. Cars are very interesting because I myself, for many that I've followed for years, I bought the i8, bought the Lamborghini, bought the G-Wagon, and I bought them all cash. I sent the wire, I got the cars, etc. Now, they became obviously massive liabilities given the fact that I bought them off the lots. So here's what I learned. Is that you can enjoy these cars. If you want to get it out of your system, just rent them. I'm not saying rent them and flaunt it like it's yours, because that's pretty tacky. What I'm saying is, if you just want to enjoy a weekend with a nice luxury or exotic sports car, just go out and rent one. You don't need to go and have a massive payment that you send to buy one of these, or you don't have to put yourself into massive amounts of debt for what? To try to impress somebody else? One thing that I learned from a mentor a long time ago, when you sell based off of emotion, in this case, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, of course, unless you're in the billionaire category or hundreds of millions, then yes, buying them for fun, sure, why not? Go for it. But if you're making 5 million or 10 million, that's what you have saved up. And heck, a lot of people don't even have that liquid. And you think it's okay to go out there and buy an exotic that expensive, $250,000, there's a reason why. It's probably because maybe you want to be perceived a certain way, whatever it is. So buying cars isn't necessarily a terrible thing. However, when it comes down to taxes, again, I'm not an accountant or anything of the following. What's better is to lease, because a lot of these cars, given the weight, you can't necessarily write off, but you can write off a portion of a lease, and you can't write off a finance, essentially. Again, depending what the vehicle is being used for, but majority of the times, if you were to get audited, you would need to prove that. So a car is something that we all need, but you don't need to go overboard. See, a lot of people always flex flooded out watches, the diamond APs, the diamond Rolexes. Now, here's something that I hope some people learned and some people avoid, is that diamonds, unless factory, will actually decrease the watch's value If it holds value, great, but more often than not, the watch decreases in value, so you spending that $20,000, $30,000 just so your wrist can glimmer, well, I mean, it's a really, really bad investment in my opinion. I used to have one of those Rolexes that were flooded out, and luckily I broke even, given that gold was through the roof when I went ahead and sold it. You want to make sure that you're not going out there and just trying to buy one of those super flashy watches or pieces of jewelry that don't hold value. Remember, diamonds are a massive industry, and diamonds are specifically out there as a marketing ploy. Certain amounts of diamonds are released to the public every single year because it's a diamond monopoly. So don't get lured into that. Jewelry isn't bad. It could be a very, very good investment. For example, I invested in a few Richard Milles, and again, because of the value of gold in the entire market, they've gone up tremendously. So really good investments. However, if they were flooded out, it probably may be maintained, but somebody would need to say, hey, yes, we will buy that back from you at the price that you paid. Again, I would just avoid flashy jewelry in totality. If you want to watch, get something plain, get something simple, and work your way up. Expensive living quarters. You don't need to live in the penthouse of the tallest building in your area. You just don't need to. You can operate in a very small area. It doesn't really matter where. Make sure you're in a safe environment as well, but you don't need to spend $10,000, $15,000, $50,000 a month on a luxurious apartment or condo or home. Again, you can do that once you get to a certain point, and I myself can speak from experience, is that I paid the $6,000, $7,000 a month for a penthouse, very small, probably like 700, 800 square feet, overlooking Manhattan. But again, on the New Jersey side. But again, what I will say is that it's not the best investment whatsoever, because again, if you use that money, go elsewhere, find a better location, you can turn, maybe even if the rent was like $3,000 or $4,000, that extra $2,000 over 12 months is $24,000. So that $24,000 can be flipped into a greater sum if you're smart about it. Designer clothes. Now, I see a lot of people that will wear Gucci all the time with the G's, or the Off-White with the X, and they have Gucci this, Gucci that, Louis Vuitton this, Louis Vuitton that. Now, I'm not really big into design. As a matter of fact, I don't really have any designer clothes unless it was bought for me as a gift. I personally love Amazon. Like these pants I have on, $20 on Amazon. The jeans I wear, $30 on Amazon. I am not really big into it, so I can't necessarily tell you that I can relate. However, I see a lot of people, especially when I go somewhere like LA or one of these, influencer conferences or e-commerce meetups, everyone's trying to basically be a peacock, where they show that they have all these fancy designer clothes and whatnot, but it just so happens that the outcome isn't necessarily more income for you. Just because you have a Gucci shirt doesn't mean that you hold some sort of authority. It just means that you might be loud. And that's something I see as well, is a lot of people mistake those that wear designer clothes and are draped from head to toe in designer clothing as people that are credible. And that's, again, that's a whole different story. But just make sure you understand those clothes, there will always be new trends. Probably 2-3 months, there's a different trend. Your clothes, sure, they'll be there. They get worn out, whatever it is, but that's money down the drain. Next is private jets, first class and business class. Now, this is actually very important, because I do think these are very, very, very crucial once you start making enough money. Meaning, I fly first, business, whatever it is. I don't like private jets unless it's very, very, very crucial. I, till this day, have not justified myself getting onto or paying for a private jet. There's just no need. Now, here's the thing, is that when you go ahead and you purchase these type of first class or business class tickets or private jets, you can expense them given if it's for business, right? So the other thing is you pay for comfort, you pay for leisure, and that's okay. I was told a long time ago that if you are going from New York to LA, it's a 6-7 hour flight. Yeah, you probably want to be comfortable, as well as you want to have an environment where you can also work and continue working on whatever is allowing you to ride or obtain that first class, business class. That's not terrible. However, in the very beginning, when you're first starting to acquire and obtain capital, I don't suggest going out there and saying, okay, I'm going to bring myself and my girlfriend on a first class trip from, LA to Hawaii, right? It's just not needed. And somebody told me something recently that was very funny, was if the plane, God forbid, went down, the people in first business are the first ones to go because they have the money to sue the airliner if something went terribly wrong. So again, I just found that pretty funny. I don't think it's necessary. And let me tell you something, it doesn't matter. Everybody gets there at the same exact time. Now again, if it's a trip, like I said, from Florida to LA, yes, I will go first or business depending on the flight time or length. Extravagant vacations. Listen, I am one for going to the islands, whether it's Turks and Caicos, Bahamas. Again, those aren't necessarily extravagant, right? Now, if you want extravagant, you can look up something like Amangiri, all the Amans, essentially. They're really, really nice properties, very expensive. Those are something that I enjoy, that's luxurious, that I personally look at as a getaway as well. Now, here's the thing, is that right from the beginning, I see people, they'll make a lot of money and they'll go just travel the world. Now, here's the thing, is that when you're traveling the world, enjoying the fruits of your labor, you tend to stop working. A lot of people tend to stop working. If you're going to do that, at least make sure whatever you're spending isn't outweighing what you're taking in, and don't lose focus. I'm not saying don't go on vacations, don't overspend. Now, I have a bad habit and had a bad habit, so I guess we can say current, of liking the most extravagant vacations. Now, I'm lucky enough to be and blessed enough to be in a position where I can afford those particular vacations. But again, I'll do it very often because I tend to stop working and just enjoy. And unplugging for me is very hard. So being at these vacations, I'll spend incredible sums of money to be at a hotel or to be on a beach, and I'll still be on my phone working. So again, just understand extravagant vacations and going beyond your means can be harmful if you're personally not ready to unplug as well. So just make sure you're paying very close attention to your spending habits when it comes to vacations and just living lavishly around the world if you're not ready for it. Now we're gonna talk about restaurants because this one can get really expensive really fast. I was just in LA for a few days, and I remember I went to Nobu for lunch and dinner, and we did this like 3 days in a row. I was going ahead and paying for the bill, treating all my friends. And let me tell you something, restaurants get really expensive really fast, especially if you're going to the nice ones. This is just like the lure of bottle service, is that a lot of times it's to impress other people. But again, some people like good food, and that's okay, but it can get very, very expensive. Luckily for me, I have a very childish palate. I like chicken tenders and fries, and I'll eat that all day, every day. But recently, I've just switched up my diet where it's just healthy food. But again, this is a pit, a huge pit, especially people on the West Coast or even New York, Miami. They'll try to get into every incredible restaurant everywhere so they can go ahead and have the selfie or the picture of the status that they're there. It doesn't matter. Don't overextend. Restaurants can be a very, very, very dangerous money pit if you're not careful. Lastly, my biggest piece of advice is don't try to impress everybody, because you know why? They're not paying your bills, you are. So if somebody else is paying your bills, cool, impress them. All right, but until somebody else is, you don't need to impress anybody. Once you find your little oil well, how you're making your income, double down on it. Figure out a way to double down. Get crafty, get witty, start building even faster. So then again, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, but don't overdo it until you're in the hundreds of millions, billions of dollars range. And hopefully everybody here watching will achieve immense amounts of success in the near future, if not just in your lifetime. If you think I missed something, let me know in the comments down below what you would add to this list as well. If you haven't done so, subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll catch you soon. See you guys.